Hi everyone, this is Sharifa Tharpe at ST Law Office, and I am here to take your immigration related questions. So I like to close out the night with you all to take your questions. As an introduction, I am U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I basically focus on helping individuals to get their green card and their work permit in the United States. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, go ahead and ask your questions now in the comments. I usually come with a topic as well. And the topic that I'm going to be talking about is how to apply, who qualifies for U.S. citizenship and the U.S. citizenship application process. So as a reminder, I just want to let you know that you, at any point in this live show, you can drop your questions in the comments, and I will stop talking about the topic to be able to answer your questions, because your questions are my priority. So I am here to answer your questions. So I'm going to be talking about the topic, who qualifies for U.S. citizenship, but that is going to be something I'm going to talk about while your questions come in. So, who qualifies for U.S. citizenship? So, it's going to be green card holders who qualify to apply for U.S. citizenship. And the green card holders have to have their green card for a specific time period before they can apply for U.S. citizenship. So that time is generally 5 years. You can start applying at 4 years and 9 months for U.S. citizenship, but you must first meet that time requirement. If you obtained your green card through a U.S. citizen, then you remain married to that U.S. citizen at the point that you're about to apply at 2 years and 9 months, you're still married to the U.S. citizen who you got your green card through, then you would be able to apply for U.S. citizenship in 2 years and 9 months. Now, for those of you who are just joining, I want to let you know that you feel free to ask your questions in the comments. I am here to answer your immigration related questions. So feel free to go ahead and ask those questions. Now, if you are a green card holder and you have applied, you have had your green card for at least 4 years and 9 months, or if you married a U.S. citizen and you obtained your green card through that U.S. citizen, and you've had the green card for 2 years and 9 months, then it's time to look at whether you qualify to apply for U.S. citizenship. Now, the other qualifications to apply for U.S. citizenships are that you have been in your state of residency for at least 3 months, that you have good moral character, that you're at least 18 years old, and that you meet the continuous residence and physical presence requirements. The continuous residence means that you have maintained residence in the United States for the period of time, so the most recent time, they look back at about the last 5 years or the last 3 years that you've had your green card, depending on how you got your green card. Physical presence, you have to also show that you have been in the United States, physically present in the United States for at least half of the time that's required for you to have the green card. So that's going to be 18 months if it's over the 3 year, if you are applying based on the 3 year time requirement, or 2.5 years if you're applying based on the 5 year time requirement. So I want to let you know that I am here to answer your questions, and I see the first question from Britt Glodal. Hi there, thanks for joining in. Is there a way you could do adult adoption for someone over 18 and or it's not possible? Great question. Unfortunately, the person, in order to apply for them to get the green card so to adopt them and then apply for them to get their papers, they would have to be, you'd have to adopt before the age of 16. So CAD B, what if you overstayed your time given? So if you overstayed the time and you overstayed by over 180 days, then you will have accrued what's called unlawful presence. The minute you go over the 180 days, and if you leave the country, you will become inadmissible. So when you are, meaning you would be barred from coming to back to the United States or getting any kind of visas or green card for 3 years. If you overstay by over a year, then that's going to be a 10-year bar. So that's what happens. And that happens a lot with people who come here. They overstay for some reason. And because of that, they then have to fix their status. And that is also something that I work on helping immigrants do, is to fix their status. Because if you would like to apply for a green card, if you qualify through a family member or an employer, there's what's called a waiver that you can apply for. And that waiver just means you're applying for forgiveness. But there are specific requirements for that waiver. Great question. And Jill Wu 96, thanks so much for sharing my live. So I am talking about qualifying for and applying for U.S. citizenship. But I want to let you know that I'm here to answer your immigration questions. You are my priority. Your questions are my priority tonight. So go ahead, just as Britt did and just as Kadzi did, go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. What if someone waiting on an interview date for over 3 years? So if it's been over 3 years and this is outside of the usual time period for your case type, so it all depends on the processing time for your particular type of application. But if if 3 years is beyond the usual time, then there are ways to inquire further and to request that they take action on your case based on it being outside of the processing time. So you would have to first check, I don't know what kind of application that you have pending, but first you would have to check usually the USCIS.gov website. It has a case processing link on the homepage. If you go there, click case processing, and then you go to the service center that is the service center or the field office that is processing your case. You pull up the type of form. So for example, you're waiting on an adjustment of status interview for over 3 years. You can click on the I-485 form and it's going to give you the time period that they usually take to process these types of applications. And if it is outside, if your 3 years is beyond their usual time, then you can move forward and ask. You can get the ombudsman involved. You could do a congressional inquiry, which I do those as well. So, it all depends though on what your case type is, because sometimes your case type can be even, 3 years, 5 years. It just depends on how you qualify. So Kadzi, what if you want to become a citizen, you possess a visitor's visa but haven't overstayed yet? So you would not be able to become a citizen. What you may mean is that you want a green card, which is permanent residence in the United States, but it is not U.S. citizenship. You would first have to become a green card holder and then hold it for a few years, permanent residency, before applying for U.S. citizenship. Now, in order to jump from a visitor's visa to permanent residence, you have to make sure that you qualify through an employer. if through humanitarian means, if you're free to go back to your country, for example, and of course, you don't, not only fear of going back to your country, but you have to meet certain specific requirements. Or if you qualify through a family member, then these are ways that you could apply for permanent residency. But at this point, you would have to see what you qualify for. And I urge you to get legal advice and find out what you qualify for before making any kind of decisions to stay or overstay the visa. And if you would like to look into your options, you can always give me a call at 561-405-4889, and I will happily advise you based on your circumstances. So Jill Wu 96, are they printing green cards and employment IDs now? So yes, I have received those. So I believe they are printing them and sending them out. And there was a lawsuit in place too, which I believe they settled. So they are moving forward with that. Him Chad, thank you for sharing my live. Okay, so the case time is only over 3 weeks over the person was told. They said they're still doing the background check. So sometimes if they're doing a background check and that person's name comes up on a list, or it comes up close to somebody on a watch list, that may create further delay in that particular case. But, if it is outside, you may have to go beyond just inquiring to the USCIS. You may have to get your congressman involved. So those are some options that you would have to look into. Sanjay 1, how to apply for a Canada visa? The best way, can you assist with that? So I am a U.S. immigration attorney. I don't do Canadian immigration law. So you will have to find a Canadian immigration lawyer. So Wilhelm Wengi, where are you from? So I am from Jamaica, and that is where the accent is from. So thank you for the compliment. So Kat ZB, green card, my apologies. So yes, I understood that. Thank you, Basnet Suni, for following me. I appreciate that. So Wilhelm Wengi. I am in Boca Raton, Florida, but I represent clients all over the country and the world. So Basnet Suni, how long does it take to get my citizenship? So I've seen it as short as 6 months and as long as 18 months. So it really depends on where you are and how busy the field office is, but I would say 6 months to 18 months. It will be 4 years and 9 months next month. I have been to the USA, so can I apply for citizenship? If it's 4 years and 9 months and you have your permanent residency, and then you definitely meet the time requirement. What I would have to do is sit down with you in a consultation to go over all the requirements, all your background, to make sure you meet the other requirements as well. So keep those questions coming. These are great questions. So I am talking about applying for U.S. citizenship and the requirements to do so. So Baz Netsuni, this is for you. This general information is for you. So you can definitely get some more answers from this. Let's see. I'll say Kadzibi. Okay, I definitely will. My green card was lost in the mail. I reapply. Can I sponsor my husband when the green card is pending? So if your green card was lost in the mail, what you would need to do, when you get that the notice, it usually provides you, and I don't know if that is your initial green card that you lost, or if you if you were applying for a new one. But usually when you apply, they will give you an extension or give you proof of your green card. So in that case, you could still apply based on that notice, and then update the application afterwards with your green card. But you would also have to have all the details on your green card as well, and a copy of your green card. So you may want to wait until you get the green card if you do not already have a copy of it, because you have to show evidence that you are a green card holder. Another option is to actually request that you get the I-551 stamp in your passport, and that could also be proof of permanent residence and sufficient evidence to show that you are a green card holder for application purposes. So Heavenly Ice Angel, how to apply for the green card? Carol Black Barbie, I don't do divorces. I only practice immigration law. Sometimes that does involve issues with divorce, but I don't actually file divorces. Heavenly Ice Angel, how to apply for the green card? That is a very loaded question because there are many ways to apply. So there are ways to apply through employment. There's ways to apply as an abused immigrant. There are ways to apply through family members. So it all depends on your particular situation. User 633, you're welcome. So great questions so far. Now I want to go back. I had listed the qualifications for U.S. citizenship, which was 4 years and 9 months, good moral character. And what good moral character usually means is that you have not done anything criminally, for example, or done any acts that would indicate that you lack good moral character. Such acts would involve, infidelity, tax issues, if you owe delinquent tax, delinquent child support, if you have had an habitual drug or alcohol problem, or multiple DUIs, so driving under the influence. These are the type of offenses or violations that the officer will look for in your background to determine whether you lack good moral character. So if you have any of these issues, I don't want to say for sure that you would be denied, but it's very important for you to get legal advice before applying for U.S. citizenship. So once you determine that you qualify, right, you meet all the requirements, so good moral character, at least 3 months residency in your state that you're living in now, at least 18 years old, continuous residence, meaning for the last 5 years, you've been living continuously in the United States. Physical presence, meaning you can show that you're physically present in the United States for at least half of the past 5 years. Once you can meet those requirements, then the next step is to submit your application. So the application is the N400 application, and you would submit it along with the necessary evidence. And once you submit that application, then you will go through biometrics, the biometrics appointment. That is fingerprinting for another background check. And then once you do that, usually after that, you will be able to get that final interview. And that's where a lot of the action takes place. Hi, Sexy Tommy One. So no, nothing new today. Arabian 90s, do you know when the immigration will start working back again? So they're working on that. So the immigration ban on a lot of the countries has been lifted. The green card ban has been lifted. And so they are slowly getting the wheels turning again. But it really differs based on the countries. So for example, in the embassy, Embassies all over the world, we're still dealing with a pandemic, and so each embassy is working off of how bad the pandemic is in the country. And so you really have to, if you are in a particular country and you would like to figure out what's going on with that particular embassy, you should visit the embassy website to see if they have any updates on what they're doing or what their policy is. So CADZB, I missed your question. Let's see. So if I missed your question, sometimes the questions don't come across. You can go ahead and retype it and then I will answer because I don't see it above. So do you do a U.S. citizenship? I don't know to read so good. So yes, I do. I do represent clients in U.S. citizenship and I advise. So what you can do is give my office a call, schedule a consultation with me. So you will get the scheduling receptionist who will put you on my schedule, and then we can talk more about what you can expect, especially at the interview where, yes, they do the reading and writing in English test. So we can talk more about that and see whether you qualify for any type of waivers of that test. So CADZB, fear of going back to one's country, is that limited to direct threat, for example, crimes against women? So great question. So usually when you have a fear of going back to your country, it is based on you being a member of a particular group, a particular social group that's being persecuted in your country. And now that could involve based on gender, but you would have to show that this is widespread. So this is widespread persecution against, for example, women, that the government is, they're either a part of the persecution or they're not doing anything to help women in that help women out of the trouble that they're in on a whole. So yes, so it's basically asylum. So if you file for asylum, that's what you would be filing based on persecution, based on a membership in a particular social group. Doesn't have to just be gender. It could be race. It could be based on religion. It could be based on your sexual orientation. It could be based on any other type of particular group that you can show. So him, Chad Besoon, you're welcome. Because I was also saying, okay, you're Jamaican too. It's nice to see a fellow Jamaican here. Okay, and good answer. I'm glad that I was able to answer your question. So keep those questions coming. I want to hear your immigration questions. I'm talking about applying for U.S. citizenship in the United States. And how you can qualify. So I already talked about eligibility, and now I'm talking about the application process. And a part of the application process is first apply with the sufficient forms as well as the necessary evidence based on your particular circumstances. Then you can expect a biometrics or what's called a fingerprinting appointment, and it's just you attending the USCIS office to do fingerprinting for your background check. And then after that, you can expect to get a letter in the mail giving you the date, time, and place to attend your final citizenship interview. So when you attend that interview, you'll check in and the officer will call you into their office where they will make sure that you're sworn in to tell the truth. They'll go through your application. So they usually go through your application, ask you various questions based on the information in your application, and then they move forward with the writing and the reading test. So this is writing and reading tests in English. usually, unless you qualify for an exception. So Cat ZB, so can a person who has a visitor's visa who shouldn't be working use their employee to apply? So now you applying for an employment-based visa is very specific. You have to have certain qualifications, and there's different type of employment-based visas. So it depends on the employer's needs, the needs of the country, the employee, which would be the immigrant's qualifications. There's usually a type of labor certification process that the applicant must go through. So it is not as simple as just getting the employer to apply for you to go from a visitor's visa to employment-based visa. So Carol Black Barbie, what if the USPS return a letter saying could not deliver? What if the USCIS put the wrong address? So if you can show that the USCIS put the wrong address, then you, and I think, is this Carol Black Barbie? I can't remember what your previous question was. Let's see. Okay, so the year on your work permit is incorrect. Okay. And thank you for that compliment. I am a proud Jamaican, so thank you for that. So I'm just looking back at your question. So if the USCIS put the wrong address on your green card or even your work permit, then, and you can show that, your address was correct, that you gave to them, and that they were the ones that got it wrong, then you could apply for them to make the correction without a fee. So I hope that answers your question. If not, you can retype your question, Carol Black Barbie. Cat Z, okay, think it would be easier if I call for a consultation. So yeah, if you want specific details to you, then definitely give me a call, and I will happily speak with you in a consultation. When you call, you would get the scheduling receptionist who will get you on my schedule and confirm the appointment. So that would be the first step, and then once we get to the appointment, I can delve further into your details. So I think you are probably right if you feel that need. So user 87025, how the interview cases for marriage interview, for marriage green card. So Cat ZB, my consultation fees are $150 for up to an hour. We sit down, we delve into all your details. You get to ask all your questions, and then you walk out with some surety as to what the next step should be, or me as your attorney should you need that representation. So Carol Black Barbie, my friend, I-130 was returned from 2018, and they just realized they request a new one and still nothing. So with that situation, I would have to see what was going on to properly advise on what happened there. So with the interview cases for the marriage-based green card, I am not sure what you're asking here, but I can explain generally that the interviews either happen at the embassy in your spouse's home country, or here in the United States if they qualify for that. And now if you're asking for how long do these type of cases take, It's right now it's taking about 18 months to 24 months for the entire process to go through. So keep the questions coming. I'm talking about applying for US citizenship, and I'm now talking about that when you get to the final interview and what you have to do. So the final step is to take the reading and writing test. And usually it's a one sentence. The officer will ask you to write out one sentence. The officer will ask you to read a sentence in English. And then you will also get the civics test, the history and physics civics test, which is basically based on United States history and government. So Kadzi, okay, great. I definitely will be contacting you. I'll check out your page and grab the necessary info. Great, that would be great. I am looking forward to speaking with you. Now my number is 561-405-4889, or you can go to the link in my bio where you will see the contact form on the website. It's on every page. You can fill that out with your information, and we can definitely call you back during the next business day. There are receptionists answering the phone 24/7, so you can always call anytime. If you want to call 2 in the morning, you can do that, and that receptionist will go ahead and take your information, and then during the next business day, the scheduling coordinator will get back in touch with you. So Kadzi, the number is 561-405-4889. So at the final interview during citizenship, what will happen is the officer will, if you pass the test, or the civics test, you are going to have 10 questions total. As long as you get 6 out of the 10 correct, then you will pass the civics test. After that, the officer will confirm your information, and then basically tell you whether or not you will be recommended for approval. You will usually get, if you're approved, you will usually get the date in the mail, and the date to get sworn in as a U.S. citizen, and that in a nutshell is the U.S. citizenship process. So I am pretty much complete on the topic I came to talk about, and I don't see many questions coming in anymore. I'm here every night, so what you can do is follow me, and as soon as I go live, you can hop on and ask your questions. So user 199, how long does the USCIS respond back to get your receipt after the first notice? So it depends on what kind of case type you're applying for. If you submitted the I-130, right now, just because of the backlog, I would say you should wait at least 6 to 8 weeks. I've seen it come that long, but it could be as little as 2 weeks or up to 8 weeks right now. So Momo 940, 10-year green card holder, when can that person file for you? So the 10-year green card holder can file for their spouse, their child under 21 and unmarried, or their son or daughter who's 21 and up. And they can apply at any time. You're welcome, Carol. Thank you. And thank you for your time and for asking such great questions. So Shelda Romulus, what is the best time to call you tomorrow? So the best time to call the office would be between 8:30 and 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. And you will get the receptionist. And why it is the best time to call tomorrow is because you will get immediate assistance from the scheduling coordinator, who will speak with you to get and arrange with you to schedule a consultation with me. So that is why it is a good time. So my husband filed a no receipt notice as yet. Yes, so unfortunately that is happening where it is taking weeks and weeks to get that receipt notice. If it is a very long time, what you can do is try to track it hopefully you did track it to show that it was delivered to the USCIS. Then the next thing is call them with your biographic information, your husband's biographic information, and see if they can track it. So my husband filed a no receipt notice as yet. We filed for his green card unconditional. So user 8033 I485 case, 2 years green card or 10 years green card is count after file date or after marriage date. So the 2-year green card will be granted if you've been married for less than 2 years on the date that the green card is approved. So if you're married for 2 years or more, then you will get the 10-year green card on the date that the green card is approved. So let's see, 199. File for his green card unconditional. So user 199, I'm not sure with what this issue is about. So my husband filed a no receipt notice as yet, and we filed for his green card unconditional. So I'm not sure what the situation is, but you please give my office a call and let's delve more into what's going on so I can properly advise you. So Momo 940, so he don't have to wait till after 5 years to file for me. So no, a green card holder can file for their spouse at any time. So no, there is no, now what you may be referring to is if he has to wait for citizenship until he gets citizenship, and he does not have to wait until he gets citizenship to apply for you. He can apply for you right now. As a matter of fact, Momo 940. Now, I don't know where you are and the way that the process will work. So another thing is green card holders can apply for their spouse, but their spouse, if their spouse is in the United States, their spouse must have, thank you for the present model, Shanti. Now the immigrant spouse, if they're in the United States, they must have legal status, right? Or else they'll have to take more steps to get the green card because of what's called unlawful presence. It's basically living in the United States without status. If your spouse is a green card holder and you're outside of the United States, then he can go ahead and apply for you, and it should be a very direct process where he applies for you. Once the initial application is approved, it will get sent to the National Visa Center, and the National Visa Center will send it to the embassy where you will attend the interview. But if your husband is a green card holder and you are in the United States and you're out of status, then you will have to apply for a waiver for forgiveness for the unlawful presence before you can get the green card, because they're not going to allow you to apply in the United States. You must leave the country to apply. And so if that waiver is approved, that application for forgiveness is approved, it will allow you to do just that. So in a nutshell, if you want to stay in the United States and not go through that waiver process to apply for forgiveness, your husband will need to first become a U.S. citizen. So if it's going to take him 5 years, then I think that's what you're talking about. So it all depends on the process that you prefer to go through. Definitely give me a call and schedule a consultation, and then I can go through your particular circumstances and then give you more direct advice, because I know what I said was a lot. So Shamal, thank you for sharing my live. Thanks again, Model Shanti, for the present. User 199, my husband has a 2-year green card. So when can my husband file for his children? So if now your husband has a 2-year green card, and he has a 2-year green card through you. Does he have the 2-year green card through you? Are you the United States citizen? So in this case, if his children are under 18, and if you got married before his children turned 18 and his children are under 21 and you're a U.S. citizen, you can actually apply for them as stepchildren. So in a case like this, I need to know more before I can tell you when he can apply for his children, because I would want to know what your particular circumstances are. So give me a call at 561-405-4889. You can check out my videos. My phone number is plastered all over, or you can go to the link in my bio and get the phone number there and give me a call to schedule a consultation, because there may be different ways to approach this just depending on your circumstances. So yes, and if user 199, if you were married to your husband before the children turned 18, then you can actually apply for them. And if they're under 21 and unmarried, you can apply for them to come to the United States, and they would still have priority in the green card process, just like your husband did. Ashamal Martin, about the amnesty thing, you ask if granted the person would have to wait 8 years before they can apply for a green card. So it's great, user 199. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So Shamali, so the amnesty, if it becomes law, because it is not law yet, it was just proposed, and right now it's kind of a sitting duck. But what would happen is it's I believe an 8-year path to citizenship. So what you would get at first is a kind of conditional green card, or temporary, a type of temporary status for 5 years. And after the 5 years, then you would have the opportunity, you would qualify to apply for citizenship after 3 years. So you would get the green card after 5 years, and then you can apply for U.S. citizenship after 3 years. So it's actually a path to citizenship over an 8-year period. But please keep in mind that, so user 199, definitely give me a call, because there is a better way to approach it. You can apply for your stepchildren and get them here in no time. So you can submit that application right now, but I want the information I'm giving you is general. I don't know all your circumstances, so that's where the consultation is very important. But if you're a citizen, you married your husband before the children turned 18, and if they're still under 21, then they are qualify as your stepchildren and qualify for the green card through you. So I live in Nashville, Tennessee, married to a 10-year green card holder. Okay, so Momo 940, so that is where I believe you would have to, not necessarily have to, but you may have been advised that it is best to wait until 5 years until he's a U.S. citizen. But there is a waiver available. That waiver is a way that he could still apply for you. And then once he applies, you can also apply for a waiver. It's called the unlawful presence waiver to get forgiveness. And then that waiver is based on you having a U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse who will experience extreme hardships if you cannot be there, if you cannot be granted the green card. So It all depends whether you qualify for that green card. All depends on whether you can show extreme hardships of your spouse. Now, in order to advise you further, I'll definitely need to know what your circumstances are, to advise you about that waiver, whether you qualify, and come up with a strategy for you. So give me a call. What if you're still waiting for answer from your mother? I'm not sure. I think I may have missed your question up above my NY. Please repeat that question. So Model Shanti, can a sister that is a permanent resident file for her brother in Jamaica? So no, permanent residents, green card holders can only file for their children, their spouse, or their son or daughter who is 21 or up. So what if you're still waiting to get answers after filing for your mom since last year? So it just depends on the situation. I would have to look at what's going on. I know that there is a backlog regarding, but I don't know what stage of the process you're in. But there is a backlog and things are taking a little longer. So my NY, thank you for following me. So I'm going to call it a night. I'm here every night, so follow me just like my NY did. And as soon as I come on again tomorrow, you'll see me and you can hop on and ask your follow-up questions or ask your questions if you didn't get to answer. So thanks again. And if you would like to schedule a consultation with me, go to the link in my bio and go to the website where you'll get my phone number. You will and you can call me or complete the web form, and we will contact you. Have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.